Hello YouTube, I decided to make this video to help those of you that are currently struggling to reach wave 30 in the new event Tidal Defense SImulator. Why wave 30? Well, you only need 20 waves to get all the rewards, but if you go all the way to 30, you are going to be able to unlock an achievement, halfway to the light. Survive at least 30 waves in the event, you get 5 astrite, which is nothing, but for completionist purposes, and since you are already at wave 20, might as well just go to wave 30, right? What do you need to prepare? For machines, for ground, you need glitch spawner with the upgrade that increases the movement speed in confusion. You need Janrock, which increases their explosion ranges. Frankly, this one you could pick either one, they are both fantastic. For wall, I am using Repulsor Sprout for those tight squeezes where you can just throw the enemies off the map, with the upgrade to also affect medium 𝗖cie scores, which are the most important, and Thunder Lens, which has the upgrade to apply paralysis. A lot of tactics require paralysis on enemies in order to deal extra damage, and at the same time it's an extra form of CC, so just get it. For sealing, I am using Shock Inductor. In my opinion, this is the best DPS machine in the game, with the upgrade to generate an AoE around the 𝗖cie scores that it destroys. Optional module 1 is pretty much worthless. Shocking a paralyzed 𝗖cie score guarantees a critical hit. The only issue is that with all the tactics that you get, you are pretty much guaranteed to always critical hit. So this is pretty much wasted. Never pick that one. And Freeze Jet. Absolutely insane, and I'm sure you already heard about this. It's not as effective against bosses since they are immune to freeze, but that's why we have Shock Inductor here. This one has the upgrade. Now it freezes 𝗖cie scores on hit. As for Kuro's weapons, I just upgraded all of them. I only used Speed Shooter at the very start for the first 5 waves, and then I will switch to Stagnation Field or Repulsion Field depending on the map. For tactics, there are 3 tactics that I consider OP, and you should pick them always above everything else. First one is Bounty Hunter. It's very simple. You get 20% more sim credits. It's all about sim credits in this event. So this one is absolutely busted. The second one, Budget Optimization. Not only your combat machines cost 20% less, they also receive a 20% increase in attack. What? And the third one, Lean Mode. The very first thing you must do once you have spawned in is reroll. I mentioned the 3 OP tactics. Try and get at least one of them. You have 4 tries, 2 from the game and another 2 from refreshes. If you are unable to find any of them, then simply restart. Is it cheap? Yes. It is very effective? Also yes, and that's the purpose of this video. If you manage to find the interest tactic, then don't put any machine on the field. Why? Because you can simply beat the first 2 waves only with the shooter weapon, saving credits in your bank and providing extra interest. Starting from wave 3, your inbuilt weapon is no longer be enough and you are gonna need to play some machines. If you don't have the interest tactic, you can simply just spam Shock Inductors. If you have it, one Shock Inductor is enough, even though you are gonna have to just keep hitting them for the entire duration and you are gonna cut it pretty close. But think of the interest. For wave 4, we are gonna need 3 Shock Inductors. This is gonna be enough to keep the enemies at bay. If you are wondering what other tactics you should pick along the way, it truly does not matter. Just pick anything that boosts electro damage or glacial damage or slows, or some general stuff like increased attack percent depending on the number of credits. You know, that kind of stuff. Increased ceiling damage, increased ground damage. Stay away from increased wall damage. From the shop, there is one thing that I would always buy, and it is pretty much mandatory. Even use your refreshes to buy more of it, and that's the item that increases or, well, restores the matrix HP. This is gonna be very important for you later on. Outside of that, the tactics, well, just wait in if it's worth losing the interest again. If you don't have the interest tactic, you can simply just buy any tactics that you like from this. I will also buy a couple, maybe 3 of the items that remove corruption, just if you find yourself in a tight spot. On wave 5, add a row of ice jets just to slow the enemies down. This combination is absolutely broken and pretty much nothing gets past it. At wave 7, enemies are gonna be coming from 2 directions. In that situation, add 2 thunder lances in a spot where they can hit both waves, slowing the enemies down further. They are gonna be frozen, they are gonna be paralyzed, they are gonna take damage from the shock capacitors or inductors, whatever. Everything is gonna melt. Right before going into the 10th wave, this is what your setup is gonna look like. You are gonna have 3 thunder lances there, 2 there. You are gonna have 2 rows of thunder capacitors, followed by a row of ice jets, another 2 rows of thunder capacitors, another row of ice jets. Honestly, this is already overkill. At wave 10, another path opens. Just sell all the singlings that you had. You can keep the thunder lances and make this build. Again, 2 rows of lightning, 1 row of ice. On top of that, add 2 rows of Janrocks and 1 row of glitches. The second one is optional if you feel endangered. This is so broken because if enemies somehow manage to go all the way to the glitches section, the glitches will make them return the way they came from, and they are gonna get blown up by Janrocks again for a second time. At wave 16, we are gonna get a new path, and with it a new setup, 2 thunder lances to apply paralysis to enemies for the entire length of the, let's call it, death tunnel. Janrocks left and right to blast them. Ice and Electro on the ceiling, the same format like before. The Electro are blasting the enemy, the Ice ones are gonna slow them down, giving time for the repulsors to work their magic and push anything that is not a boss in the ravine and just end their life. If by some miracle the mobs make it past this and reach this point, then they are just gonna get turned back and pushed into the ravine. If you feel unsafe, if the enemies threaten to break this, you can just continue and place more Janrocks with more glitches and more lightning and ice on the ceiling. At wave 20, you are gonna notice the first real issue of this build, and its name is the Tambourinist. The guy is invisible, combat machines on the wall and ceiling are not gonna target him. That means a good chunk of your DPS is bye-bye. On top of that, he's not affected by glitches once his HP drops below half, leaving you only with Janrocks as the sole means of defense. Don't misunderstand, you can place Janrocks all the way to the end and deal with that guy. However, I don't like that approach. You have 10 more waves to go and you are gonna lose on interest by doing this. And at this point, you should have the interest tactic. On top of that, the guy is gonna blow up and you are gonna lose like what? 2-3k of credits just like that, and it's gonna set you back a ton. If you let him through, you are gonna lose only 10 HP. If you follow my advice and bought this Matrix command, which restores 5 durability from 2 money every time and with every refresh, then you should have more than enough life to spare to let Tambourinist through. Also, this is the price at wave 25 for those modules, so make sure you stock up before that. Waves 21 to 30 are all pretty much the same, with all the mobs having to go through this choke point in order to reach the end. We are starting with a 4x4 Janrock surprise, glitch, 2 rows of Janrocks, glitch, so on and so forth until the end, and the ceiling is the same pattern as before, with thunder lances on either side in order to paralyze and slow the enemies. Invisibility is still gonna be an issue. I was able though to kill Tambourinist with this setup, however the other one managed to get through, so it's like a 50-50. Regardless, it truly does not matter. Even if all the Tambourinists went through, I will still have 15 HP left, and that's also the HP you'll have left if you follow my advice and bought matrices whatever chance you got. I hope this video was helpful to you. Until next time, have a wonderful day and bye!